אל הסבב הזה אני מזמין לפתוח את האיש שיתח בכם מילים בשפה שרק דונלד טראמפ מבין. סתם לא, כנראה שדונלד טראמפ לא באמת מבין אותה. קבלו בבקשה את עופר יצחק!
From the Garden of Eden, God spoke to me. Start again. From the Garden of Eden, God spoke to me. He says, hate thy neighbor, for he is different from thee. For he has no right to walk free in a world wherein you are the first lieutenant of divine providence. God cheers to me with 300 million voices as I carpet bomb the places where the heretics roam. As I take away the children of same-sex couples, tear the clothes off transsexuals, and drag my sisters through the dirt by the hair. Whispers through thunderous applause as my soldiers of love march row by row by row into the streets, snatch young boys and girls from their mother's arms and turn them into black-eyed, contemptuous instruments of faith. You must choose, God says, between the light of purity and the weak darkness of tolerance. Oh, my Father, I say to him, show me the path to righteousness. And all of us, together, the 300 million voices of God, will go to church. We'll sing the hymns of our saints Sia and Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber and Kanye West. And at our humble request, the shepherds, in their black suits and their ties, shall step forth from behind the altar to soak thirstily in our adoration. Come ye to our sovereign nation, and in our prisons we shall liberate thee from the bondage of thy soul. From the Garden of Eden, God spoke to me. He says, love thy neighbor, for your brother is he. Any passing difference between thee is not but a cipher of my own brilliant design. God looks on with 300 million pairs of silently approving eyes as I write his word on organically sourced, gluten-free papyrus. Thou shalt know prejudice only against those who practice it. God nods with 300 million sharpened chins as I wield my words as scalpels and cut the vocal cords from the throats of the sexist, racist, and homophobic waste of space which God has put in my path to test my faith before turning them on myself, and slicing my own erroneous assumptions into toxic confetti so that I might purify my spirit. And all of us, together, the 300 million voices of God, will gather in a neutral, non-denominational setting, sit on organically sourced gluten-free chairs and feel offended and indignant, snapping our jaws at the dull hum of hatred haunting us from beyond the windows. Join us, we cry, and we shall show you the path to justice.
Amen!
From the Garden of Eden, God spoke to me, but not with words. His 300 million voices lay silent and still, and in his infinite wisdom, God showed me a vision of a world without him, where walking the middle path between hatred of the other and deafening love of the self is taught in every school, where isms are only spoken of when a child wakes from a nightmare and cries, "Mother, I dreamed," and someone didn't like me because of the color of my skin or who I love. Where no man cries like a woman because men cry however they like, where no woman need fear the men who don't know this, where fat, skinny, short, tall, gay, lesbian, transgender, black and white, and everything in between are nothing more than colors on the paintbrush of creation, meaningless and inconsequential as the names we give them. God showed me a world where we know how to hate each other, but choose not to. And God says to me, I cast Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden because I erred in placing them there to begin with. Whether I exist matters not, O sons and daughters mine. Your promised land lies in the palms of your hands and the tips of your tongues, in your softest whispered words and your smallest acts of kindness. I wove Eden's breath into the very fiber of your being. As I sculpted you in my image, I buried its flesh beneath your sinew and bone. Who went to which mountain? Who saw the burning bush? And who turned water into which kind of wine is irrelevant, my children, because it was the air in your lungs that blew down the walls of Jericho, and in your fictions of me, you have forgotten the things that I wrapped around your hearts to keep them beating. I have given you Eden, and now you must build it for yourselves.